Well, I think it's exciting to find something that we all agree on. Everybody here says the rec department's great, and I totally agree. Mr. Gray, Bill, and I have had a previous conversation in the last week or so about introducing the arts into the rec department. I totally agree with him that we need to introduce more non-athletic, more physical elements into the rec department. To bring in adult classes and develop an adult program, I totally agree with. We are growing the rec department by leaps and bounds. We're excited about having a new stadium. Mr. Paget mentioned using the stadium for other issues. I think it's evident of that with this vigilance coming up. We used it for the block party that we just had a couple of weeks ago. So we are expanding the use of our new stadium. We also have reached an agreement with the school district to have the use of the new old Liberty High School. I call it the old Liberty High School. The new old Liberty High School to have the softball field, soccer field, and baseball field at our disposal. So we'll be utilizing that. So our rec department is going by leaps and bounds.
Our next question comes from Ken Smith. With the great job of all of our neighboring cities within Pickens County have done with downtown's revitalization, how would each of you plan for revitalization of downtown Liberty, and what would be the time frame to accomplish this plan? Will we able to do it?
Like I said it before, with the revitalization, there was funds and there was grants that was given. But when the economy fell, then those funds were not there. That's why we have the plans, we have some university grew it up, and that's why Liberty has not been revitalized yet. Because if I'm not correct me if I'm wrong, but we didn't want to raise the taxes for everybody else have to do that. And I was not part of the city council, I'm just listening to that. So with that being said, the plan would be, it hasn't changed. We already have a plan in place, it's beautiful. And actually, they have on there, do you not? Does you not have them there? You guys don't have the drawings of what the city will look like, they're absolutely gorgeous. But the funds have to come available again to do it. So that's where we rely on grants to be able to do that type of stuff. Unless economic development comes to place, because that's something that we really do not, I really don't believe that we can raise the taxes to do. Because that type of work, and what calls for it to be done, costs a lot of money. I just hate the fact that we're on the tail end of the grants.
One thing that I think a lot of us sometimes fail to realize is the money situation and how you can't take something that is a fluctuating number and hold it against a constant loan to get something done. So although I think that the committee that we have started that is looking into ways of using the hospitality tax to pay for some of the revitalization of downtown, it can be dangerous to take something like the hospitality tax that can fluctuate from year to year and use it against a set number of loans that we take out. So I do think it's a good idea to start using a little bit of it, but we do need to be careful with that because we don't want to be saddled with the debt that we have to pay when the hospitality tax is not coming. So I definitely think that we've got some things that we can work on, not just buildings, but I think the community atmosphere, the people of downtown, we need to work on. I already mentioned this, but I think we need to work on some of the building owners, not just the people, you supporting us revitalizing downtown. But the building owners can saddle some of that as well. Thank you.
I'll just give you a quick story, kind of give you an idea of how I feel about downtown. When my wife was pregnant in June, she was having a rough night. So I took the kids and we walked, and we lived about 2 blocks from Commerce Street. And we had dinner. We had dinner at Tony's. And we came out, and I looked around, and it was dark. It was poorly lit, and the road looked awful. and the buildings were empty, and the only other business open was the bar. And I remember coming home and telling my wife, if I had been a single mother carrying my kids out there, I would not have felt safe. We have to look at that area. And I'm not talking about raising taxes. Some of it's just going to take our effort, our man hours getting out there and doing it. I know that one of the things that the Liberty Now group is doing is a cleanup day here shortly. Things like that, where we're willing to get out and put our own hands and feet out there and do some of the work. There are grants available. Pickens has revitalized in the last couple of years. The economy's been bad for longer than that. There's grant money there. It comes and goes, but it's available. We just have to get on top of it when it comes available. And then we can see a lot of this happen. But we've got to have a timeline for when we want this to happen. I personally, as a citizen, am tired of hearing that everything's coming, even into that economy, but not seeing progress. And I think that's what we owe the citizens, is signs of progress coming back into our town instead of just lip service about it.
Well, as a member of the committee of Liberty Now, as Mr. Gabriel just alluded to, recently formed a committee to analyze the methods and ability to do something about downtown. But we have many things, and it's a multi-tiered answer, not only in time, but in effort. There's many things we can do as a city. One is to poll our vacant landowners and buildings to get them to come to a unified square footage rate for rentals so that we could then market that and then let the client or the customer determine which building they might want because they're all the same price based on the function they would have in their individual business. We could attract people. Being a business owner and having the property, I understand that income is better than an expense. If we can convey that message to them, we should be able to get something going soon. All right, secondly, how would we go beyond that? Grants. We all are very familiar with grants. Grants we use for our infrastructure. Grants are challenging to come by, especially in the federal and or state economic times. Not only are those grants becoming of a limited nature, but we then have to have matching funds, which is generally at least 10% or so of those grants. It takes a large sum of money. It takes time. Thank you.
Well, I'm in favor. I realize it's been slow coming, and some of the things that they talk about hasn't been able to do. But I admire our mayor, council, for not jumping in and doing things that we couldn't afford. Just like you don't do something at home that you really can't afford to do. Most people don't. You can't do that as a city either. Nothing replaces good common sense. Sure, we want this, we want that, and it would be great to have a beautiful downtown on Commerce Street. The park we have on Front Street is really a nice, eye-appealing park, and it'd be great if Old Commerce Street and Main Street looked that way. But you can't afford it, you can't do it. And I just think a good common sense business approach to any projects that comes up, then it is the best way to go. And I would love to see that. And I hope that through grants and better economic times, that we can accomplish that in the next year.